The spotlight hit like a freight train, blinding Isaiah as he stumbled off the stage. His voice raw from belting out echoes in the dark, to a crowd that had just turned on him mid-chorus. "Faggot's brother!" someone screamed from the front row, the words slicing through the applause like a knife. And in that instant, the sea of hands that had reached for him retracted like recoiling snakes. He dropped to his knees in the wings, vomit rising in his throat, because he knew this wasn't about the song. It was about Nathaniel, his baby brother, the golden boy of country music whose closet door Isaiah had just kicked wide open for the world to gawk at. Isaiah's hands trembled as he fumbled for his phone in the dim backstage chaos, the roar of the dispersing crowd echoing like thunder in his ears. The dressing room door slammed behind him, and he collapsed against it, sliding down until his ass hit the cold tile floor of the Staples Center's underbelly. Los Angeles, the city of broken dreams, had never felt more like a graveyard. His thumb swiped open the screen, and there it was, the tweet that started the apocalypse. A blurry photo of him and Nathaniel at last week's family barbecue in Nashville, arms slung around each other, laughing over ribs and sweet tea, now captioned with venom, "Nathaniel Hale, fake-ass patriot, hugging his queer-ass brother? Boycott his tour. Real country ain't gay." The likes were climbing into the tens of thousands. Retweets a toxic flood. Isaiah's chest heaved, each breath a ragged fight against the panic clawing up his throat. He was 32, a session guitarist who'd scraped by in LA's indie scene for a decade, content in the shadows while Nathaniel, the 28, exploded onto the country charts with his gravelly baritone and heartland hymns. Nate had been the one with the voice that could shatter glass and mend souls, the one Mama had prayed over in their cramped Kentucky trailer, whispering, "Lord, give this boy wings." Isaiah, he'd been the quiet one, the fixer-upper, tuning guitars and writing hooks that Nate turned into platinum. But last night, drunk on post-show whiskey at a dive bar in Silver Lake, Isaiah had let it slip to a TMZ vulture disguised as a fan. "Yeah, my brother's straight as an arrow. But me, honey, I've been waving that rainbow flag since I was 16. The confession had been an exhale, a middle finger to the suffocating secrecy that had choked their family since Dad walked out when Isaiah was 15, muttering about God's natural order. But now, it was a bomb, and Nate was ground zero. Isaiah scrolled frantically, heart pounding as he hit Nate's mentions. The betrayal unfolded in pixels. Traitor to real Americans. Cancel Hale, family of pervs. He knew and hid it? Disgusting. Sponsors dropping like flies, Wrangler jeans, Ford trucks. Even the Tennessee whiskey distillery that had made Nate their poster boy. Ticket sales for his sold-out Red Rocks show tomorrow, plummeting. Fans who'd tattooed his lyrics on their ribs now doxing his address, calling him a woke sellout for daring to share blood with a queer man. "Fuck," Isaiah whispered, the word dissolving into a sob. He pictured Nate in their childhood bedroom, posters of Johnny Cash peeling off the walls, strumming his first guitar on that twin bed while Isaiah read comics in the corner, hiding his crushes on the boys in class. They'd been each other's shield, Isaiah taking the blame for Nate's teenage smokes, Nate covering for Isaiah's late-night drives to the only gay bar in Louisville. Blood thicker than the Bible Belt bigotry that had tried to drown them both. But this was fans turning on Nate not for who he was, but for who Isaiah dared to be. The guilt was a vice, crushing his ribs. His phone buzzed, a call from Mama. Isaiah answered on the second ring, steeling himself. "Baby, you seen the news? Lord have mercy. They're saying things about you and Nate that ain't fit for decent ears." Her voice cracked, the same tremor she'd had when Dad left, packing his truck with excuses and shame. I told him to keep it quiet, Isaiah. Family business stays in the family. Mama, it ain't his fault, Isaiah choked out, wiping snot on his sleeve. Or mine. It's these assholes with pitchforks and keyboards, she sighed, heavy as the humid Kentucky summers they fled. Your brother's losing everything, son. That label man's calling him a liability. What are we gonna do? Isaiah had no answer, just the hollow echo of his own heartbeat. He hung up and staggered to the mirror, staring at the man who'd ignited this firestorm. Dark skin glistening with stage sweat, locks tied back in a hasty bun, eyes the color of storm clouds. Nate's eyes, their shared inheritance from a father who'd never claimed them. He splashed water on his face, but it did nothing for the inferno inside. Nate's tour bus was idling outside, engines humming like a getaway car. Isaiah grabbed his leather jacket, the one with the embroidered Tennessee Rose Mama stitched, and bolted. The night air hit like a slap as he burst into the loading dock, rain-slicked pavement reflecting the neon glow of LA's underbelly. Nate's bus loomed like a silver bullet, door hissing open as Isaiah approached. Get in, a roadie grunted. Eyes averted. Inside, it was a tomb. Empty whiskey bottles on the counter, Nate's Stetson crumpled on the couch, and in the corner booth, his brother head in hands, broad shoulders shaking under a flannel shirt that smelled of hay and heartbreak. Nate, Isaiah breathed, sliding in beside him. Nate looked up, face a map of devastation. Red-rimmed eyes, jaw clenched like he was chewing on glass. The man who'd crooned Whiskey River to arenas of 10,000 now looked like a kid who'd lost his dog. You outed us both, Nate said, voice low and lethal. But there was no real anger, just exhaustion, the kind that seeps into bones after a lifetime of pretending. My phone's blowing up. Label says the album's scrapped. Fans. Shit, man, they were my family. Isaiah reached for his hand, but Nate pulled away, staring at the rain-streaked window. I didn't mean it was one beer too many, and that prick from TMZ was all, tell me about your bro. The real deal, I thought. Hell, I thought in LA, it wouldn't matter. That folks out here were evolved. Nate laughed, bitter as black coffee. Evolved? Half my fanbase is truckers from Alabama who think love is love means lovin' your truck and your gun. And the other half, Bible thumpers who pray for my soul every Sunday. He finally met Isaiah's gaze, and the pain there was a gut punch. I defended you, you know, always. When Dad called you a disappointment, I told him to fuck off. When school kids beat the shit out of you for that pride pin, I broke Tommy Jenkins' nose. But this is my dream dyin', because of who you love. The words landed like blows, each one cracking the foundation of their brotherhood. Isaiah's throat tightened. Nate, I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. I'll go public. Say it was a lie. Whatever it takes. Nate shook his head, sinking back into the cushions. Ain't nothin' to fix. They're comin' for me, 'cause they see me as tainted now. Brother of the queer. Like it's contagious. He paused, voice dropping to a whisper. You ever think, maybe I am tainted? I mean, all these years watchin' you hide, I wondered if that's why I never settled down. Chasin' skirts in every tour stop, but nothin' sticks. Like I'm runnin' from somethin' in me. Isaiah froze, the air thickening between them. Nate had always been the straight shooter, literally, girls on both arms at the Grammys after party. flashing that megawatt smile for the cameras. But there'd been moments, the way he'd linger too long on certain backup dancers, the double take at the bar when a guy with Nate's build bought them shots. Isaiah had chalked it up to bromance, brotherly vibes. But now, in the dim bus light, with the world crumbling outside, felt like a confession hanging unspoken. The bus lurched forward, tires hissing on wet asphalt as the driver peeled out toward the highway. Isaiah scooted closer, risking the touch this time, his hand on Nate's knee. "Hey, whatever's in you is good. You're good. And those fans, they ain't family. Family's us. Mama." The blood that don't wash off. Nate's hand covered his, squeezing once. Hard. "Yeah. But losing this. It hurts like hell. Is." They sat like that as the city lights blurred into streaks, the rain a relentless drum on the roof. Isaiah's mind raced how to shield Nate, how to claw back what the mob had stolen. But deep down, he knew. This betrayal wasn't just fans turning coats. It was the mirror cracking, forcing them both to face the truths they'd buried under spotlights and six strings. By dawn, they'd crossed into the Mojave, the bus a cocoon against the world's fury. Nate dozed fitfully, head lolling on Isaiah's shoulder, and Isaiah watched the desert unfold. Endless, unforgiving, a canvas for reinvention. He pulled out his notebook, scribbled lyrics in the half-light, shadows in the rear view, blood on the strings / brother's sin or saint. Same damn wings. It was rough, raw, but it felt like a spark. Maybe this inferno would forge something unbreakable. Or burn them to ash. Little did he know, the real fire was just igniting, not from fans, but from the embers of Nate's unspoken heart, waiting for the wind to fan them into flame. The Nashville skyline loomed like a judgmental elder as the bus rolled into town 3 days later, the prodigal sons returning to a city that had crowned Nate king and now wanted his head. Isaiah stared out the tinted window, the Cumberland River sluggish under a gray November sky, mirroring the sludge in his gut. Mama's farmhouse was 30 minutes out, a white-clabbered sentinel on the edge of the holler where cicadas sang hymns and lightning bugs danced like fireflies in July. But today felt like a trap. The porch swing where they'd confessed kid secrets, now a confessional for adult sins. Nate hadn't spoken much since L.A., his silence a wall thicker than the Smoky Mountains. He'd chain-smoked Marlboros on the roadside stops, staring at the horizon like it held answers in the heat haze. Isaiah gave him space, busying himself with calls to indie promoters, scraping together gigs to keep the wolf from the door. But the betrayal festered, a poison seeping into every text from fans who weren't. Death threats scrawled in all caps, petitions to revoke Nate's CMA nomination, even a viral video of a bar fight where some redneck smashed a Hail poster over his knee, yelling, "Ain't no place for rainbow riders in country." They pulled up to the farmhouse at dusk, gravel crunching under tires like brittle bones. Mama was on the porch before the door even hissed open, apron dusted with flour, her hug enveloping them both like a force field. "My boys," she murmured, salt and pepper braids swinging as she pulled back to inspect them. Evelyn Hale was 62, built like the oak out back, sturdy, unyielding, with eyes that had wept rivers but never drowned. "Y'all look like you been through the flood." "Feels like it, Mama," Nate muttered, forcing a half-smile as he grabbed their duffels. Isaiah followed, the screen door creaking like an old friend's welcome. Inside, the kitchen smelled of cornbread and collards, a balm against the chaos. But the TV in the living room droned low, Fox News looping clips of Nate's downfall. Pundits in stiff collars decrying the gay agenda infiltrating Nashville. A clip of his last interview where he'd vaguely praised family love, now twisted into code for sin. Dee turned it off earlier, Mama said, catching Isaiah's glare at the screen. Dee was Daddy's ghost, but also Darnell, their stepdad of 15 years, a quiet mechanic who'd married Evelyn after the divorce, teaching the boys to fish and fix carburetors without a word about Isaiah's urges. He was in the garage now, tinkering, avoiding the eye of the storm. They ate in silence at first, forks scraping plates, the only sound the tick of the cuckoo clock Grandpa carved. Nate pushed peas around like they offended him. Label called again. Full release. No fault of mine. They say just market forces. Albums shelved. Tours toast. Isaiah's fork clattered. Bullshit. We'll shop at Indy. I've got contacts in Austin, real ones. Not these corporate snakes. Nate's laugh was hollow. With what money? Sponsors ghosted. Royalties frozen till the heat dies down. Heat that ain't dyin'. It's spreadin'. He glanced at Mama, softening. Sorry, Ma. Just tired. She reached across, patting his knuckles. Tired's when the devil whispers loudest. Baby. Remember what Pastor said? Storms reveal the roots. Yours are deep. Deeper than any hater's words. But Isaiah saw the roots cracking. That night, after Mama retired and Dee grunted goodnight from his lazy boy, the brothers retreated to the attic, their old domain, now a storage shrine of faded glory. Gold records gathering dust. Nate's first Fender propped in the corner like a sentinel. Moonlight slanted through the gable window, casting silver on the sleeping bags they unrolled side by side. Nate stripped to boxers, his body a roadmap of tour scars, tattoos of lyrics snaking over ribs, a fresh bruise from punching a venue wall in Reno. Isaiah tried not to notice the way muscle shifted under skin, the V of his hips disappearing into shadow. Brotherly, he reminded himself, shoving down the flicker of something forbidden. Nate flopped down, staring at the rafters. You ever hate me for being the star? For dragging you into this mess? Isaiah lay back, hands behind head. Hate you? Nate, you're the reason I picked up a guitar. Watching you sing in that school talent show, voice cracking on the high notes, man, it was magic. I'd kill to have that fire. Nate turned on his side, face inches away, breath warm with mint toothpaste masking bourbon. You got fire. Is different kind. The kind that don't burn out. Me, I'm ash without the crowd. His eyes searched Isaiah's, dark and searching. What if? What if I told you I've been lying to, not just to them? To me, the air stilled, charged like the moment before a twangy riff drops. Isaiah's pulse thrummed. Lying how? Nate swallowed, Adam's apple bobbing. Back in L.A., after the show. That dancer, Javier, the one with the tattoos and the laugh like summer. I hooked up with him. In the hotel. Woke up feelin' like I'd crossed a line I'd been towing forever. Isaiah's world tilted. Nate, straight arrow Nate with a man? The confession hung, heavy with implication. And Isaiah's mind reeled. Relief, jealousy, a twisted pride. And it felt right. Scary right. Like slippin' into a song you wrote in your sleep. Nate's voice cracked. But now, with all this shit stormin' down 'cause of you, us, how do I own that? Fans already think I'm tainted. If they knew. Isaiah's hand moved before thought, cupping Nate's jaw, rough stubble under palm, eyes locking like puzzle pieces. Then own it quiet first. With me. No fans. No spotlights. Just us. Figuring it out. Nate leaned in, tentative, lips brushing Isaiah's in a ghost of a kiss, soft, exploratory, tasting of salt and secrets. It was wrong. A line brothers don't cross. But in that attic, with the world baying at the door, felt like salvation. They pulled back, breaths mingling, unspoken boundaries fracturing. The next morning brought reality's hammer. A knock at dawn, the sheriff, tipping his hat awkwardly. Mr. Hale, got reports of threats. Folks driving by, yellin' slurs. Suggest you lay low. Nate nodded numbly, but Isaiah saw the defeat settle like frost. They holed up for weeks, the farmhouse a bunker. Isaiah cooked, gumbo from Mama's recipe, fried green tomatoes with a kick, while Nate strummed half-songs, melodies laced with ache. Nights blurred into confessions. Nate admitting the flings that felt hollow, Isaiah sharing hookups in shadowy clubs, the loneliness of loving men who vanished with the dawn. Their touches lingered, a hand on the small of back, fingers tracing collarbones during late-night talks. The kiss wasn't repeated, but the tension hummed, electric as a live wire. Then came the call from L.A., an underground showcase at the Troubadour, no questions asked gig for outcasts. Isaiah pushed. Go, Nate. Show 'em you're still you. Nate hesitated, eyes flicking to Isaiah. We go. Together. The drive was 6 hours of backroads. Radio off, windows down to let the wind whip away the doubt. Nashville faded in the rearview, but the Scars rode shotgun. At the venue, a graffiti-tagged hole in West Hollywood, the crowd was a mosaic. Drag queens in fishnets, leather daddies nursing IPAs, allies with faded Obama pins. No Stetsons, no rebel flags, just raw hunger for truth in tunes. Nate took the stage, acoustic in hand, Isaiah on harmonies. He launched into echoes in the dark, voice steady as Kentucky clay. Halfway through, he faltered, a heckler in the back, some transplanted redneck. Go back to your fag brother. The room tensed, but Nate straightened, eyes blazing. This song's for family. The kind that bleeds for you. If you can't handle that, doors there, silence. Then cheers erupted, fierce and freeing. Isaiah joined for the bridge, their voices twining like vines, Nate's baritone grounding Isaiah's falsetto. Offstage, hands clasped in the green room, sweat slick and alive. That, Nate gasped, that was us. Real us, but betrayal's shadow lingered. A video leaked, grainy phone footage of the shoutdown, and by morning, it was war online. Cancel Hale trended again, but so did Hale Heels, fans old and new rallying with stories of their own hidden loves. Sponsors trickled back, cautious. Yet Nate withdrew, the high crashing into paranoia. They'll never let me forget, he told Isaiah one night, rain lashing the farmhouse windows. Your truth cost me mine. Isaiah's heart splintered. My truth? Nate, it's our truth. And if it costs everything, we rebuild. Together, but together was fracturing, the pull of unspoken desire clashing with blood ties. Isaiah packed for L.A. Solo, a session call he couldn't refuse. Come when you're ready, he said, kissing Nate's forehead, brotherly, or so he lied to himself. As the truck rumbled away, Nate stood on the porch, watching taillights vanish into the holler. The betrayal wasn't just fans. It was the fear that loving Isaiah as brother, as more might be the final verse he couldn't sing. Los Angeles swallowed Isaiah whole, a glittering maw of palm trees and promise that chewed up dreams and spat out husks. He crashed at a buddy's loft in Echo Park, sagging couch, walls papered in band flyers, the hum of traffic a lullaby. The session was for some alt-folk outfit, strings layering over lyrics about lost boys and city lights. But Isaiah's fingers faltered on the fretboard, mind adrift on Nate's porch silhouette. 2 weeks in, and radio silence from home. No calls, no texts, just the void where brotherhood once thrived. He threw himself into the grind, gigs at open mics, co-writes in coffee shops where baristas pierced more than ears. LA's queer scene was a lifeline. Dive bars in West Hollywood pulsing with bass and bodies, where men with coal-lined eyes bought him whiskeys and whispered invitations. One night at the Abbey, a guy named Marcus, tall, tattooed, with a smile like sin, pulled him onto the dance floor. They moved sticky sweet under strobes, Marcus's hands mapping Isaiah's hips, lips grazing his neck. "You look haunted," Marcus murmured, breath hot. "Wanna tell me why?" Isaiah almost spilled it, the brother, the betrayal, the kiss that blurred lines, but beer loosened his tongue another way. They tumbled into Marcus's Silver Lake apartment, a tangle of limbs and laughter, Marcus's mouth skilled and sure. It was release, a gasp against the ache, but dawn brought hollowness. Marcus stirred, offering coffee and casual. "That was fun. You around next weekend?" Isaiah nodded, but as he dressed, guilt coiled like smoke. This was escape, not healing. Nate's face haunted the ceiling cracks. Back in the loft, his phone finally buzzed. "Mama." "Nate's gone dark, baby." Locked himself in the studio out back, writin' like a man possessed. "Dee says give him space, but I hear him cryin' at night." Isaiah's stomach dropped. "I'm comin' home." The flight was turbulence incarnate, mirroring his soul. Nashville greeted him with a biting wind, the Opry sign mocking from afar. Mama met him at the gate, thinner, worry etching deeper lines. "He won't talk about you. Or the music. Just strums and stares." The farmhouse felt haunted. Dee's hammer clangs from the garage a metronome to tension. Nate was in the converted shed, once a playhouse, now a makeshift studio with foam walls and a scarred oak desk piled with crumpled sheets. Isaiah knocked, heart hammering. "Nate, it's me." The door cracked. Nate's face gaunt in the slit, unshaven, eyes shadowed like bruised plums. "What are you doing here?" Missed you, dumbass." Isaiah shouldered in, the air thick with stale coffee and despair. Guitars lined the walls like soldiers, a half-empty bottle of Jack on the floor. Nate sank into a swivel chair, gesturing vaguely. "Sit. If you want." Awkwardness choked the space, thicker than the dust motes dancing in sunlight. Isaiah perched on a stool, fiddling with a plectrum. "Heard you're writin'. That's good, right?" Nate snorted, rifling through sheets. "Good? It's purge. All this shit, fans, labels, me. It's comin' out in verses that'd make Dad roll in his grave." He paused, voice softening. "Missed you too. But seeing you stirs shit up." Isaiah leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Then let's stir. Talk to me, Nate. The kiss. The dancer. All of it." Nate's jaw ticked, but he met the gaze. "Javier was intense. After you left, I crashed hard. Fans picketed in the bus. Paparazzi swarmin'. He was there, at the after-party back up for some pop act. We talked music, then more. Woke up tangled, his head on my chest, and for the first time, it didn't feel like cheating myself. He rubbed his neck, vulnerable. But then the video from Troubadour blew up. More hate. Panicked, ghosted everyone. Including you. Isaiah's chest ached. A mix of pride and pang. You ain't gotta ghost me. I'm the one who started this fire. No, Nate's voice sharpened. You lit the match, but they poured the gas. And me, I been carrying my own can of lies. He stood, pacing, energy coiling like a spring. Wrote this. He snatched a sheet, voice rising as he read. Midnight confessions in a brother's bed / lines we cross or lines we dread / blood and bone. Sin and song / where do I belong? The words hung, raw poetry laced with their shared ache. Isaiah rose, closing the distance. You belong here. With me. Us against the storm. Nate stopped, inches away, the air crackling. Us. That's the problem. Feels too good. Too wrong. But his hand lifted, tracing Isaiah's jaw, the echo of that attic night. This time, the kiss ignited, hungry and unapologetic. Nate's body pressing Isaiah against the desk, papers scattering like confetti. It was fire, lips bruising, hands roaming under shirts, breaths ragged with years of pent-up what-ifs. Isaiah tasted the salt of tears on Nate's cheek, the desperation of two men drowning in identity's undertow. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed. This changes everything, Nate whispered. For the better, Isaiah vowed, but doubt flickered. Brothers, lovers, what were they now? The interlude shattered with a bang. D at the door, face thunderous. Boys, news crew down the drive. Sayin' something 'bout a leak. They bolted to the porch, Mama wringing her apron beside D. A van idled at the gate, reporter microphone thrust like a spear. Nathaniel Hale, sources say you're writing a confessional album about your brother's lifestyle. Care to comment on the rumors you're involved? Nate froze, color draining. Isaiah's blood iced. The leak from Marcus? A spiteful ex? Betrayal's second wave. Get off our land, D bellowed, shotgun propped casual on shoulder. But the damage was done. By evening, headlines screamed, Hail incest? Singer's new songs hint at taboo romance with gay brother. Social media erupted. Fans who'd rallied now recoiling in disgust. Old supporters crowing told you he was sick. Sponsors fled for good. The CMA yanked his invite. Nate barricaded in the studio, emerging only to smash his phone against the wall. Isaiah confronted him at midnight, storm raging outside. It ain't true. Not like they twist it. We're brothers explorin'. Explorin'? Nate roared, eyes wild. It's poison. Fans hated me for your truth. Now they'll crucify us both for this. He shoved past, grabbing keys. I'm out. Need air. The truck peeled into the night, taillights vanishing like a dying star. Isaiah collapsed on the porch, rain soaking through, sobs mingling with thunder. Mama found him there, wrapping a quilt around shoulders. He'll come back, baby. Love like y'alls don't break easy. But dawn brought no Nate. Calls went to voicemail, texts unread. Isaiah scoured routes, bars, backroads, the river bend where they'd skipped stones as kids. By noon, a trooper call. Truck wrapped around an oak off I-40. Nate banged up but breathing. Hospital in Lebanon. cracked ribs, concussion, whiskey on his chart. Isaiah raced there, bursting into the room where Nate lay hooked to monitors, bruises blooming like ink. "Idiot," Isaiah choked, gripping the bed rail. "You could've died a coward," Nate rasped, hand finding Isaiah's. Woke up thinking clear. This leak, it's the universe forcin' my hand. No more hidin'. Doctors discharged him days later, ribs taped, spirit frayed but fierce. Back home, they locked the world out, no TV, no phones. Nights were tentative rebuilds, Nate strumming soft, Isaiah harmonizing, touches chaste but charged. The songs poured out, a double album of ache and awakening, blood harmony, forbidden chords, tracks weaving brotherhood and budding love into something transcendent. Word spread underground, demos leaked to allies, burning through queer playlists and indie stations. Fans trickled back, drawn to the honesty. But conflict brewed. D confronted them one supper, forked down hard. "This, whatever y'all got going, it ain't right. Blood don't bend that way." Mama's eyes welled. "Darnell, love bends how it must." Isaiah stood, voice steady. "We ain't huttin' nobody. Just lovin' true." D stormed out, but the seed of fracture took root. Nate, sensing it, pulled Isaiah aside. "Maybe we cool it. For them," the suggestion gutted. "Or we fight. For us." The climax crested at a secret Nashville warehouse show, bootleg. Invite only, 200 souls in a sea of lanterns and longing. Nate took the mic, Isaiah at his side. "This ain't country. This is us. Raw, real, rainbow and all." They launched into blood harmony, voices soaring, the crowd a chorus of acceptance. Mid-set, Nate froze, a figure in the shadows. Marcus, smirking, phone raised. The leak source. Rage surged. Post-show, Nate cornered him outside, fists clenched. "You did this. For what? Clout?" Marcus sneered. "You ghosts. I spill. Fair trade." Isaiah pulled Nate back, but the shove landed, Marcus sprawling, sirens wailing. Assault charge pending. Headlines reignited. Hale brothers' violent outburst, proof of toxicity? Betrayals trident. Fans. Family. Now law. Nate spiraled. Pills from the doc for pain morphing into numbness. Isaiah watched, helpless, as the man he loved slipped into shadow. Winter clamped down on Nashville like a vice, frost etching the farmhouse windows into lace while inside, tensions simmered to boil. The assault charge hung like a noose. Marcus dropped it after a hushed payout from Mama's savings, but the stain lingered, fodder for tabloids hungry for Hale blood. Nate withdrew deeper, holing up in the studio with a bottle and a blunt, emerging hollow-eyed and half-high. Isaiah tiptoed around him, brewing coffee strong as tar, sliding plates of biscuits under the door. Love, he learned, could fracture under its own weight, beautiful in theory, brutal in the breach. One sleet-lashed afternoon, Dee packed a bag. "Can't watch this no more. Boys twistin' what's holy." He hugged her stiff, nodded curt at Isaiah, and drove off in his F-150, taillights swallowed by gray. Mama wept in the kitchen, shoulders shaking over sinkful of dishes. Isaiah held her, murmuring nonsense about time healing, but his own wounds wept fresh, family splintering because of their truth. Nate found out over dinner, fork pausing midair. "My fault," he muttered, pushing plate away. Shoulda kept my hands clean. Isaiah's temper flared, rare as a blue moon. Clean? Man, you defended what matters. That's dirt worth wearin'. But Nate's eyes glazed, retreating to the attic where ghosts of innocence mocked them. That night, Isaiah climbed up, finding him cross-legged on the floor. A new song scrawled in frantic script, fractured frets and family flight/lovin', use my endless night. It's done, Nate said, voice slurred. We can't. Blood wins. Isaiah knelt, taking the pen. Blood don't dictate. Hearts do. He added a line. Hearts that beat in rebel rhyme/yours and mine. Till end of time. Their eyes met, and the kiss was inevitable, slow, searing. Nate's hands fisting Isaiah's shirt like a lifeline. They made love there, tentative then torrid. Bodies mapping forbidden terrain under rafters that creaked like judgments. It was catharsis, tears mingling with sweat. Nate's whispers of I love you, a vow against the void. Morning brought fragile peace. They emerged as partners, hands brushing at breakfast. Mama's smile tentative but warm. Y'all look lighter. She didn't pry, just slid extra bacon Nate's way. The songs evolved, 2 demos polished, sent to a queer indie label in Austin. Outlaw Heart Records, run by a burly ex-Marine named Theo who'd come out at 40 and never looked back. Theo flew in for a listen, vinyl spinning in the living room, his nod the first real validation since the fall. This ain't just music. It's manifesto. We'll put it out raw, no suits, no cuts. Your story, your terms. Nate's grin cracked the ice. What's the catch? No catch. Just truth. And maybe a tour, small rooms, real fans. Start in Austin, snake through the South. Prove 'em wrong. The offer ignited spark. Isaiah booked flights. Mama sewed tour tees with embroidered roses. Red for Nate, rainbow threaded for him. D called once. Gruff, heard you're playin'. Be safe. No forgiveness, but a crack in the door. Spring thawed the land, and with it, their resolve. The album, Blood and Bone, dropped digital first, tracks like Brother's Shadow charting on Billboard's indie list, whispers turning to roars. Fans resurfaced. The trucker from Mobile who DM'd, listened with my boy, he's like you. Thanks for the courage. The Bible study group in Tulsa hosting a listening party. Pastor preaching on David's Jonathan. Betrayal's tide receded, lapped by acceptance's waves. But conflict crested in Austin opener. 1,000-strong crowd at the Continental Club, air thick with barbecue smoke and anticipation. Nate and Isaiah took stage, backs to each other for the opener, echoes revisited, a reimagined dirge of their fall. Midway, a chant rose from the pit, "Hail! Hail!" but laced in were jeers, holdouts from the old guard, beer cans arcing like missiles. Nate faltered, mic feedback screeching. Isaiah turned, locking eyes, steady now, no attic shadows. "Sing with me," he mouthed. They launched into blood harmony, voices a defiant duet, the crowd splitting then surging as allies drowned the hate. Post-set, in the green room, Nate pulled Isaiah close, kiss fierce amid cheers filtering through walls. "We did it." "Them wrong." Theo clapped backs. "Sold out next 3. Y'all are lightning." The tour snakebit south. Memphis dives where blues ghosts nodded approval. Atlanta lofts pulsing with queer joy. New Orleans jazz halls where voodoo vibes blessed their union. Nights blurred, stages electric, beds entangled, love deepening from spark to steady flame. Isaiah traced Nate's scars in hotel sheets, whispering futures. A farm outside Nashville. Adoptions, maybe. Songs for kids who'd hide no more. But climax brewed in Birmingham, heart of the Bible Belt. Venue a converted church turned club. Irony thick as gumbo. 2000 packed in. Energy volcanic. Nate dedicated forbidden chords to the brothers we lost to lies. Voice cracking on the bridge. Then, mid-chorus. Chaos. A scuffle at the bar. Shouts escalating to shoves. Security hauled out a pack of protesters. Signs reading Sodom's sons. But one broke free, lunging on stage with a pocketknife glinting under lights. Time slowed. Isaiah saw it first, shoving Nate aside as the blade arced. It grazed his arm, shallow. Hot sting, but the crowd's roar was apocalypse. Nate tackled the guy, fists flying till bouncers swarmed. Blood slicked the boards. Isaiah's shirt blooming red. Medics rushing as sirens wailed. Backstage triage. Stitches for Isaiah. Bruises for Nate. Cops taking statements. Mama flew in, white-knuckled on the red-eye, hugging them both till it hurt. My warriors, she breathed. The attacker, a fired roadie from Nate's old tour, radicalized online. Spewing purge the pervs. Charges stuck, attempted murder, but the video went viral, twisting triumph to tragedy. Headlines howled, Hale brothers stabbed in hate attack, country's dark underbelly. Old fans recoiled. New ones mobilized vigils in Nashville, petitions for hate crime laws. Sponsors returned tenfold, CMA reversing course with a lifetime nod. But victory tasted ash. Isaiah's arm in sling. Nate's sleep haunted by what-ifs. In the hospital, tubes beeping lullabies. Nate confessed over vending machine coffee. If you died, I'd have followed. Can't lose you. You're my song, my sin, my salvation. Isaiah squeezed his hand. For tugging. Then let's rewrite the ending. No more shadows. Discharge brought reckoning. D returned, bag in hand, face etched contrite. Saw the news. Realized I was the knife, cutting my own. Hugs were awkward, but real. Family mended, threads frayed but holding. The tour paused, but blood and bone soared. Grammy nods for Best New Artist. Duo performance. They retreated to the farm. Healing in tandem. Physical therapy for Isaiah. Therapy sessions for Nate, unpacking closets long locked. Love settled. Domestic. Nate cooking chili. Isaiah tuning guitars by firelight. Kisses lazy as Sunday rains. Yet humanism whispered caution. Not all scars fade. Fans who'd betrayed? Some trickled apologies. Others ghosts. Isaiah penned an op-ed for Rolling Stone. Betrayed by the ones we sang for, but saved by the blood we can't deny. Trended, sparking dialogues in Heartland diners, youth groups. Summer swelled, and with it, a festival slot at Bonnaroo, Redemption Stage, 90,000 strong. They rehearsed in the barn, voices harmonizing hope. Bonnaroo's dust-choked fields sprawled under a Tennessee sun like a biblical exodus. 90,000 souls converging in a kaleidoscope of tie-dye and tenacity. Isaiah adjusted his sling under a loose chambray shirt. The scar on his arm a pink ribbon of reminder, proof of survival, badge of battles won. Nate paced the RV backstage, Stetson low, fingers drumming thighs. Biggest crowd yet. What if? Won't? Isaiah cut in, pulling him close for a grounding kiss, thumbs brushing jaw. We've faced knives and pitchforks. This? Just family. Theo clapped shoulders. itinerary in hand. Main stage, sunset slot. Followin' some jam band, leadin' into EDM. Y'all bridge worlds tonight. Mama hovered nearby, cooler of sweet tea in tow. D at her elbow, silent sentinel, but present. The air hummed with bass thrum from adjacent tents, scents of weed and fried dough weaving through. As golden hour bled orange across the horizon, they took stage, Nate's acoustic gleaming, Isaiah's electric slung careful. The crowd's cheer was oceanic, waves crashing as Nate strummed the opening riff of Echoes in the Dark. Years ago, he spoke into the mic, voice carrying like prayer. This song was my cry. Fans turned, world darkened. But light finds cracks. Isaiah joined, falsetto lifting the chorus, their eyes locking mid-verse, love's quiet anchor. The set built, Whiskey River reborn queer, a fiddle breakdown laced with Isaiah's riffs, blood harmony mid-set peak, arms aloft in a sea of rainbows and rebel yells. Halfway, Nate paused, sweat sheened. This next one's for the betrayers. The ones who said blood don't bend. Y'all were wrong. He nodded to Isaiah, and they dove into Proven Wrong. New track, penned in hospital vigils, lyrics a litany of rise. From the mud we crawled, thorns in our crown / fans fled the fold, but we held ground / brother's hand in mine. We claimed the crown / proved you all wrong. Now hear our sound. The roar shook earth, chants rising. Hail! Hail! No jeers, just unity. A tapestry of faces. Queer kids with tear-streaked glitter, straight allies waving flags, even a cluster of Stetson wearers who'd driven from Alabama, signs reading Real Country Loves All. Isaiah's solo soared, fingers flying despite the twinge. Nate's harmony a vow renewed. Encore brought Mama on stage, her voice quavering on a gospel bridge she'd hummed as lullabies. Dee watched from wings, nodding slow, forgiveness etched in lines. As lights dimmed, confetti raining, Nate pulled Isaiah into a kiss. Unscripted, unapologetic, cameras flashing like stars. The crowd erupted, a thunder of acceptance that drowned old echoes. Post-fest, the high lingered in afterglow. Label offers pouring. A docu-series greenlit. Invitations to Pride stages from Fire Island to San Francisco. They bought the farm outright, rolling acres outside Franklin. White fence and wraparound porch. Room for a studio and someday, cribs. Nate proposed casual over porch swings one dusk. Guitar pick between teeth. Marry me. Make it legal. Make it ours. Isaiah laughed, tears pricking. Thought you'd never ask. Cowboy. Wedding was small Mama's backyard. June heat heavy with jasmine. Theo officiating in a rainbow bolo tie. Vows wove music. Nate singing, You're forever's my refrain. Isaiah promising harmonies unbroken. Dee walked Isaiah down the aisle of hay bales. Gruff, proud of you. Son. Guests. 100 strong, old fans redeemed. New kin from tours. Marcus even showed. Contrite with a toast. To leaks that led to light. Honeymoon in the Keys. Conch shells and catamarans. Nate's burns peeling under sun. Isaiah's scar fading to whisper. They wrote their album 3. Roots and Rainbows. Tracks tender as tide pools. Love songs sans shame. Anthems for the hidden. Years folded forward. Blood and Bone went triple platinum. Grammys piling like firewood. Best Country Duo. Song of the Year. Nate headlined Opry. Isaiah co-producing. Their story curriculum in Nashville songwriting classes. The Hails. From betrayal to ballad. Fans evolved. conventions for Hail Hearts, support groups sprouting in truck stops, where dads hugged sons coming out to twangy playlists. Isaiah mentored at a queer youth center in East Nashville. Guitars donated, sessions free, kids like young Nate, voice cracking on dreams, finding brotherhood in chords. Nate lobbied in D.C., testimony raw, fans betrayed me for my brother's love. But love proved them wrong, mine for him, ours for the stage. One autumn, they adopted twin boys from foster care, Jamal and Kai, dark-eyed whirlwinds with Nate's grin and Isaiah's mischief. Family dinners echoed laughter over greens, bedtime stories strummed soft. Dee softened fully, grandkids melting frost. Mama, matriarch eternal, knitting booties in every hue. Betrayal's scar, faint now, a bass note underscoring triumph. Late nights, porch rockers creaking, Nate would lean head on Isaiah's shoulder. Still can't believe we made it. Isaiah kissed temple, locks tickling. We did. And we'd do it again, for this. The world spun on spotlights kinder, but their light, homegrown, humanistic, proof that from fans' fury, love forges unbreakable song. In the end, not happily ever after, but wholly, humanly forward brothers, husbands, heroes who proved the mob wrong, one harmony at a time.